The first thing we noticed about the airport was that the clocks were still running, every single one, even after nearly 30 years abandoned. The second thing we noticed was the announcement, Flight 702 now arriving at Gate 6. Then the runway lights turned on by themselves. Welcome back to Tales of the Dark. Tonight we are talking about an abandoned airport hidden outside the city, a place officially shut down after a passenger plane vanished before landing in 1997. No wreckage was ever found, no survivors were discovered. And according to urban legends online, the airport still receives flights long after midnight. Back in October of 2023, me and 3 friends drove out there for an overnight exploration video. There was me, Ryan, Marcus, and Chloe. We had explored abandoned hospitals, malls, hotels, all the usual urban exploration places, but airports were different. Airports already feel wrong at night, too quiet, too empty, like places humans were never meant to stay still inside. The airport sat nearly 40 minutes outside the nearest towns, surrounded by dead forest and massive empty parking lots overtaken by weeds. The building itself looked enormous against the dark sky. Broken glass, faded airline logos, collapsed fences surrounding the property, and above the entrance, the old airport name barely visible beneath rusted metal letters. Blackridge International Airport officially closed in 1997 after Flight 702 disappeared during heavy fog moments before landing. No distress call, no crash site. The plane simply vanished from radar. Ryan parked near the entrance while rain hammered against the windshield. "Still wanna do this?" he asked. Nobody answered immediately, because even from outside, the airport felt wrong, not abandoned, waiting. Marcus grabbed his camera first and laughed nervously. "Let's go." The front entrance doors stood slightly open. That alone should have made us leave. The moment we stepped inside, the temperature dropped instantly. Cold air moved slowly through the terminal, carrying the smell of dust, mold, and something metallic underneath. The airport was massive. Endless check-in counters stretched through darkness beneath flickering fluorescent lights, rows of empty seats, silent escalators. Luggage carts scattered everywhere like people had vanished suddenly, and directly above us, the departure board flickered weakly. At first it displayed random broken letters, then suddenly the screen changed. Arriving Flight 702 2:13 a.m. Gate 6, we all stared silently. Ryan whispered, "That's impossible." Marcus immediately got excited. He thought someone else was inside messing with the electronics, but Chloe looked terrified. "Guys," she pointed toward the far end of the terminal. A figure stood motionless beside security screening, too far away to see clearly, human-shaped, standing perfectly still beneath flickering lights. Marcus called out loudly, "Hello." The figure didn't move, didn't answer. Then the lights above it flickered once, and suddenly it was gone. That was the first moment I truly wanted to leave, but curiosity always beats fear at the beginning. That's why horror stories happen. We kept moving deeper into the airport. Past abandoned restaurants, dark luggage claim areas, dust-covered souvenir shops frozen in time. Everything looked untouched since the late 90s. Then we found the first suitcase, sitting alone in the center of the hallway. Clean, no dust, bright red luggage completely untouched while everything around it rotted. Ryan slowly unzipped it. Inside were neatly folded clothes, still dry, still smelling fresh somehow, and sitting on top was a boarding pass. Blackridge International Flight 702 date, October 14, 1997. Marcus laughed nervously. "Okay, somebody's definitely screwing with us." Then the airport speakers crackled overhead suddenly. Loud static exploded through the terminal, making all of us jump, and a calm woman's voice echoed through the darkness. "Attention passengers, Flight 702 will begin boarding shortly." Every light inside the terminal flickered at once. Then somewhere deep in the airport we heard footsteps, not one person, dozens. Moving slowly together beyond the darkness near Gate 6. Chloe grabbed my arm hard. "Tell me you hear that." I did, and the sound was getting closer. Marcus aimed his flashlight toward the hallway leading deeper into the terminal. At first we saw nothing, then shapes. Human silhouettes slowly emerging from the darkness. Tall figures walking silently through the terminal carrying luggage beside them. None of them spoke, none looked toward us, and every single one moved unnaturally slowly, like old video footage playing at the wrong speed. Ryan whispered, "We need to go right now." Nobody argued anymore. We turned immediately and started walking back toward the entrance, but after several minutes, the terminal still hadn't ended. The hallway stretched endlessly ahead beneath flickering fluorescent lights. The exit doors were gone. Marcus stopped walking first. "Wait," his voice sounded shaky now. "This terminal isn't this long." Then above us, the intercom crackled again. Final boarding call for Flight 702. And somewhere nearby, an airplane engine started roaring outside in the fog. The engine outside sounded impossibly close, not distant like a normal airport runway, right beside us. Like the aircraft was moving directly outside the terminal windows. Then the lights flickered again, and for a split second we saw it. A massive passenger plane slowly emerging through the fog outside the runway. Old, silver body covered in streaks of black dirt and rain. Its landing lights glowing through the darkness, and printed across the side of the aircraft, Flight 702. Every one of us froze instantly, because the plane looked wrong, not damaged, not crashed, just old, like something preserved from another time. The engines roared louder while the aircraft slowly rolled toward Gate 6 outside the terminal. Then suddenly, every arrival screen inside the airport changed at once. ARIVD Flight 722, 13 a.m. Welcome back to Tales of the Dark. Tonight we continue our nightmare inside Blackridge International Airport, the abandoned terminal where a missing flight from 1997 finally returned. Chloe grabbed my arm hard enough to hurt. "We are leaving now." Nobody disagreed. We ran through the terminal trying to find the main entrance again, but the deeper we moved, the more the airport changed. Shops we had already passed appeared again. Hallways looped back into themselves. Departure gates displayed impossible destinations. Tokyo, Rome, Moscow, no arrival time. And every clock still showed exactly 2:13 a.m. Marcus kept filming even while panicking. I remember him whispering repeatedly, "This can't be real." Then we heard the first announcement from Gate 6, not from speakers, human voices, soft overlapping chatter echoing through the terminal nearby, passengers talking quietly, laughing, dragging luggage across the floor like a normal airport arrival, except this airport had been abandoned for nearly 30 years. Ryan turned his flashlight toward the gate corridor, and suddenly people were there, dozens of them. Passengers walking slowly through the terminal carrying suitcases and bags. Men in old business suits, flight attendants, families holding children's hands, all dressed in late 90s clothing, all soaking wet. Water dripped from their clothes onto the floor while they walked silently beneath the lights. None acknowledged us, none even looked at us. They simply continued deeper into the airport, like they had just landed normally. Marcus whispered, "Oh my God." Then one of the passengers stopped walking. A woman near the back of the group slowly turned her head toward us. Her face was pale gray, eyes completely black, and when she opened her mouth, water poured out across the floor. That's when Chloe screamed. The entire terminal went silent instantly. Every passenger stopped moving at the exact same time. Then slowly, all of them turned toward us together. I have never felt fear like that in my entire life. Dozens of pale faces staring silently beneath flickering airport lights. Then the smiling started. One by one, every passenger began smiling unnaturally wide. Exactly the same expression. Marcus backed away slowly, still holding the camera. "Run." Nobody waited. We sprinted through the terminal while footsteps exploded behind us. Not running, walking, slow measured footsteps following us through the airport, but somehow they kept getting closer. We reached baggage claim minutes later, completely out of breath. At least I think it was baggage claim. By then the airport barely made sense anymore. The walls looked longer, the ceilings higher. Entire hallways appeared where none existed before. Then Ryan suddenly stopped moving. At first I thought he was injured, but he was staring toward Carousel 4. A suitcase rotated slowly around the conveyor belt alone beneath dim lights. Old black luggage. Ryan whispered, "That's my bag." The rest of us looked at him confused. What? He slowly stepped toward it. "That's impossible." Then I saw the tag attached to the handle. Ryan Carter. He picked it up carefully with shaking hands, then unzipped it. Inside were his clothes, not current clothes, childhood clothes, old toys. Photographs, and sitting on top, a boarding pass. Flight 702 passenger, Ryan Carter. Date, October 14, 1997. Ryan's face went completely white. "That's my birthday." Silence filled the baggage area. Then Marcus quietly asked, "How is that possible?" Ryan stared at the boarding pass, trembling. "My parents told me they almost died in a plane crash before I was born." Nobody spoke. Then suddenly the baggage carousel beside us started moving violently. More suitcases appeared, dozens of them, then hundreds, all old, all water damaged, and every luggage tag carried the same date. October 14th, 1997. The lights above us shut off instantly. Darkness swallowed the baggage claim. Then somewhere close nearby a child laughed softly, and over the airport speakers the woman's voice calmly announced, "Passengers of Flight 702, please proceed to final processing." Then from deep inside the darkness around us came the sound of hundreds of wet footsteps moving closer. The footsteps surrounded us from every direction, slow, wet, dragging across the floor in complete darkness. Nobody moved, nobody even breathed. Then one emergency light flickered on above baggage claim. Dim red light covered the terminal like blood, and standing around us were the passengers, dozens of them, motionless, pale faces staring directly toward us beneath the crimson glow. Water pooled beneath their feet while luggage sat quietly beside them. Not one blinked, not one spoke. Then all at once, they smiled again. "Welcome back to Tales of the Dark. Tonight we finish the nightmare of Blackridge International Airport, the abandoned terminal where Flight 702 returned after disappearing for 26 years. Ryan backed away first. The passengers immediately started walking toward us together, not fast, slow. Like they already knew we couldn't escape. We ran through the terminal blindly while emergency lights flickered overhead. Every hallway looked identical now, gate signs changing constantly, walls stretching longer than before, and everywhere we turned more passengers appeared, standing silently near escalators, sitting inside waiting areas. Watching us from dark windows, Marcus kept filming through all of it, even while panicking. I remember him saying, "If we get out, people need to see this." Then we heard the plane outside again, its engines roaring louder than before. The entire airport vibrated slightly beneath our feet. And suddenly every television screen inside the terminal turned on at once. Static flashed across them, then old news footage appeared. Blackridge International Airport, October 1997. Reporters, emergency crews, families crying near police barricades. A headline scrolled across every screen, Flight 702 missing, 214 passengers lost. Then the footage changed. Security camera recordings from inside this exact airport. Passengers boarding the plane normally, flight attendants smiling, children waving through terminal windows, and standing near the boarding gate was Ryan's mother, pregnant, holding his father's hand. Ryan stopped walking completely. "No," his voice broke instantly. They were on that flight. The footage glitched violently, then suddenly showed something else. Not news footage, security footage from tonight, us entering the airport hours earlier. Only there were 5 people walking through the entrance, not 4. The 5th figure walked beside Marcus, tall, thin, face hidden in shadow. Marcus stared at the screen horrified. What the hell is that? Then every monitor inside the airport cut to black simultaneously, and over the speakers the announcement returned. Final processing has begun. The terminal lights shut off completely. Darkness swallowed everything. Then the runway lights outside exploded on all at once. Blinding white light flooded through the giant terminal windows, and through the fog outside we saw the plane, closer now, parked directly outside Gate 6. Its cabin doors stood open, passengers slowly descending the stairs into the airport. Except these passengers looked different, distorted, bodies bent wrong, limbs twitching unnaturally while water poured from their mouths and eyes, and among them were people still wearing airport security uniforms. Pilots, children, flight attendants, all smiling. Marcus suddenly pointed toward the cockpit window. "There's someone inside." A figure stood motionless behind the glass, staring directly at us. Then slowly, it raised one arm and pointed toward Marcus. The terminal speakers screamed with static so loud it hurt. Marcus dropped the camera, covering his ears. Then the smiling passengers surrounding us suddenly stopped moving. All of them turned toward Marcus together. The silence afterward felt unbearable. Then one passenger whispered softly, "He remembers." Every passenger in the terminal repeated it instantly. "He remembers, he remembers, he remembers." Marcus started panicking. "What does that mean?" Then suddenly he froze. Completely still, his face changed instantly, confusion, then terror. "I've been here before." The words barely left his mouth before the airport lights flickered again, and for one split second Marcus wasn't standing beside us anymore. He stood inside the plane outside, visible through the cabin window. Pounding desperately against the glass, screaming silently. Then the lights flickered again, he was gone. Ryan screamed his name repeatedly, no answer, only static. Then the passengers began walking toward us again, faster this time. Chloe grabbed my arm and ran. We crashed through emergency exit doors near the runway and stumbled outside into freezing fog. The airport behind us glowed unnaturally bright against the darkness, and the plane engines were still running. Ryan suddenly stopped near the fence. "There's somebody there." At first I thought he meant the passengers. Then I saw the little girl standing alone near the runway lights. Small, pale, completely soaked, holding an old teddy bear against her chest. She looked maybe 6 years old. Ryan slowly approached her. "Hey," the little girl looked up slowly and smiled. Black water spilled from her mouth. Then she whispered, "They never landed." Every runway light shut off instantly. Darkness consumed the airport, and from somewhere inside the fog came the sound of hundreds of passengers screaming together. We ran blindly through the forest after that. I don't remember much else until sunrise. Police searched Blackridge Airport later that day. The building was empty. No plane, no passengers, no Marcus. Only his camera remained inside Terminal B. The footage recovered from it was corrupted almost completely, except for the final few seconds. The video shows Marcus standing alone inside the terminal, staring directly into the camera. Airport passengers surrounding him silently. Then Marcus slowly smiles, exactly like them. And behind him on the departure board one final message appears. "Now boarding flight 702 destination. Return, subscribe to Tales of the Dark." Where every story gives you a nightmare. And if you have your own terrifying experience you can't explain, send your story through the comments or email, and your nightmare may become our next story.